Hello, welcome to today's Simian Line variant palmistry lesson video. Also, I'll be extending this video to do an example palm reading on the other lines as well. So let's bring up some photos. Here we have a Simian line on both palms. So the Simian line is one straight line across the palm instead of the usual heart line, which is here, and the headline, which is normally there. So this person has a Simian line on each palm. And the reason why it's a variant is because the Simian line which goes right across, there's also a line that branches out from the Simian, which looks like the headline. And then there are other branch lines rising from the Simian line as well. So there is no heart line. However, there is a floating, kind of like a floating heart line and partial girdle of Venus. So all these lines that I'm drawing up here are a part of the girdle of Venus. The floating heart line can also be these lines here. There's like a crisscrossing lines that come from the outer edge. So that's kind of like, works like the heart line. Not much different from the girdle of Venus up the top. On the left hand, there's similar. The branch is not touching the Simian line, and up the top there's still that partial girdle of Venus and other branch lines. So there is an unusual branch that comes from the side which touches the Simian line as well. So that is sort of acting like a section of a heart line where there is not normally a heart line. So we will take a look at the other lines and see if we can answer some other questions. And I do have other Simian line videos where we talk about these extra lines that come away from the Simian line, and in most cases they are showing more practical side to the nature or showing a more emotional, empathetic side to the nature. Sometimes it's both. In a lot of cases it's both, and that kind of balances out the intensity of the Simian line itself. All right, let's go to the right hand and we will try and answer some questions. Okay, so I have marked some lines here on the right hand. They're both the same hand, but just the left hand was a little bit blurry. So I've got a clearer one on the right side. I've marked some ages on the lifeline. It's very clear that on the lifeline there is a split and a branch attaching to a new part of the lifeline, and then the lifeline continues. That is a clear marking of somebody who moves from one country to another, or there is a major change in the life. It can be various things. It can be things like divorces, marriages, whatever changes the life in a major way. But in most cases it's changing countries. So that's confirmed by this person who changed country around about, I think, age 40. So when it's sort of halfway along the line, as indicated on the left photo here, it points to about the age of 40, which is when this change occurred. After that, there are signs of travel. I'm estimating around about the age of 47 onwards, there's some travel signs. They're not indicating strongly So there could be just some restlessness. It could be just trips, but it doesn't look like any permanent moves happening around about the age of 47. The line, you can see, continues on the same path. On the left picture here, there doesn't seem to be much deviation. So when the line continues without deviations, that tells me that the person is continuing along the lines that they are on now. So this seems to happen quite evenly right up until approximately the age of, I've got 60, but it's leading up to 60, so it could be 55 to 60, anywhere between there. This deviation happens, so the lifeline does form a fork, so it splits. So the energy splits. It can mean living in two places, it can mean changing country again, it can mean going back to the original country, or it can just mean a decision is going to happen and this person will take one or the other route. Now, considering that there is like a secondary lifeline that's sort of overlapping, that to me tells that there is another change again later, so maybe age 70. This could be indicating like possibly the time of retirement, and I'll talk about that a bit more soon through the other lines. But the overall, with the fork like that in the line, it can represent two homes, a split home, or still being connected somehow to the original place of living. So it doesn't 100% confirm whether it will be another permanent move. Where I've got some other lines here on the fate line that we can try and decipher, and I've marked some ages on that fate line. So somewhere in the mid-30s or so, right up to 50 or so, the fate line is showing that period where things are not in one smooth line. So maybe showing that period where there is split in the family or split in the energies of the career, etc. So on this right hand, we can also see that the Simian line is not exactly smooth. Right in the middle, it's kind of like got a multitude of lines. Not quite an island, but it's a bit blurry. It's not a perfectly clear line. So that's showing that period mentally and emotionally somewhat draining. And it's confirmed by all the multitude of stress lines here, many stress lines. And these stress lines show that leading up to the age of 40, he might have been struggling with stress, not handling the stress. And I've also timed this success line here that says 65 to 70. It's tiny writing, I hope you can see it. Anyway, the success line seems to stop where the girdle of Venus joins, and the fate/career line seems to end in a trident, which is a good sign financially. Now, if this person was to set themselves up financially, that might show the retirement age around about 65 to 70. And the trident would show that there is still an income source probably from various sources. Now there was also a question about the relationship, marriage. So as far as the front of the palm, I don't see the general signs of divorce. If you want to have a look, I do have a video on signs of divorce. I think I do. I'll check if I've got the link to it, or if I have the link to the article on my website, I'll put that in the description or the comments. Okay, so let's move on to these marriage lines. So the left hand here, both of them have two union lines. On the left hand, there's very weak start. In traditional palmistry, that would be a relationship early in life, probably even before the age of 21. There's one strong marriage line, indicating that this person would like to be in one long-term relationship. But on the right hand, which is what has actually happened, is probably will have another relationship. This line representing a union before the age of 30, and this one represents one after the age of 30. You can't properly, accurately time these marks. And there's another twist to these union marks, and what they can represent, instead of representing an actual marriage, they can represent when that person is finally ready to commit, whether it's to the same person as earlier in life or whether it's a new person altogether. It's not possible to know exactly, but this is showing that this person around about in his 40s is ready to commit to another relationship, or ready to commit to a relationship. But overall, I'm pressing things on the phone. Overall, those clean looking relationship lines don't show signs of divorce. So the only sign of divorce there is possibly the fact that there are two lines there instead of the one. But one thing for sure is that the second line is long, so that is showing a long-term relationship, if not now, but eventually, rather than just lots of dates. If you're looking at someone who's always dating, you will see many lines like this, and it just shows somebody who's just probably always be single, because there's too many lines there. I think that's about all I'm going to do for this video, and I hope you've enjoyed that learning, and I look forward to doing more examples for you soon. Thanks for watching, and please visit destinypalmistry.com and please subscribe. Thanks very much. Bye.